Perfect. Hello, everyone. Hello, Facebook. Hello, Zoom people. My name is Diana Pushi. I am here today. First of all, I'm super happy, excited to share my life story, my experience, my wisdom about human design, and to have that conversation going. You can ask certain questions at the end, but we'll go through presentations with you all to really empower and inspire you today by my life story and by human design knowledge on how we can and we empower our youth through the wisdom of human design, through proper recognition, through proper validation, through empowering them to living and experiencing the life they are born to. Okay, so then again, do we go to the slides, Christine, or Christine, I don't know if you hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. I just muted out because I'm typing in Facebook and I don't want that to interfere. But yeah, go ahead. Go with the slides.
Are we going to the slides? Okay, that means that I have to share them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me do that. Let me bring the slides. So everybody is looking on the slide. Is that good? Christine, Cindy, can you all see the slide?
Yep, we see the slides. They look great.
Perfect. So again, for people who have maybe just joined, my name is Diana Pushi. You see all those beautiful acronyms there, CPA, CKM, and CEP. They have all to do there about my academic background. And the reason I put them there is just because I want you to know I'm someone who have been very much in search of education, conventional education. And I was doing well. However, I wasn't happy. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I was very stressed. And 15 years ago, I was raising a child. I have only one child, a beautiful daughter, who really has shocked me, let's put that way, and I'm very comfortable using that word because based on her human design, she has lots of, it's called penetration. She's a penetrator, she's highly intuitive, and she has the energy and the tendency to shock people through her life experiences. And right now I'm totally fine with that. However, at the time, I was shocked that my only child was not only very different from myself and from my husband. We came to Canada around 20 years ago for her to have, of course, a better life, originally from Albania. That's why my beautiful accent. And forgive me if I'm not pronouncing all the words, like any words, perfectly. However, I speak with my heart, I speak with my energy, and I am a teacher by human design. I'm a manifesting generator for 6, late bloomer, and someone who loves people and the network. And my daughter, she's now 27, Katie, she has been a child who is very unique, very different from what society, including myself, I was used to. She was not liking school at all. And there you go, the first shock for me. Someone who has been an achiever in school and in life, to have a child, leave the country, a country where I was doing so well, to come to Canada. So she goes to higher education, and she did totally shock me with her response to that idea of mine. And I was very, of course, depressed. I was working and studying and doing all the great things I was doing, I thought I was doing. Until about 10 years ago, life wanted me to wake up. And we all know how life does that. So I had it through a very challenging experience. And that's where my doctors, I was looking for the best doctors out there. They introduced me to meditation, to the Energy medicine, yes, doctors, how fascinating is that for a change. And once I learned about what is energy medicine, I am a lifelong student and teacher. I started to study any modality out there. I mean, any books, courses, programs, and everything. However, all that search kind of ended when I was introduced and learned about the human design. It has been a really life changer for myself. I learned about myself. It started as a hobby which fascinated me, which I have, from that point, I've been really enjoying the whole experience. It's not a study anymore. It's just a beautiful, inspiring experience and wisdom enjoyment for me. And that's where I learned that my daughter is a projector. I don't know how many of you here really know about human design or at least the types of the human design. She's a projector. I'm a manifesting generator. We operate in different ways. We have the same hearts. We are the same, me and her. However, our energy functions totally different. Her way of operating in life is very different from myself and from my husband, who is a generator. We are work, work, work. You can tell from my energy, I'm very fast, excited, and I have lots of energy and put that into action. This is how we are as manifesting generators. So basically what I'm saying, by me going through this path of awakening, I learned that my daughter has had a different gift. And that was even before me knowing about human design. She's highly intuitive, very intuitive. She went to school and university for nutrition. She didn't like it. She was very bored. She was not really getting good grades. And I was in shock. What's going to happen with my kid? As a manifesting generator, I took action. I enrolled her in some very powerful programs where she felt empowered, where she felt recognized for her intuition, for her gifts. And of course, in the school, nobody was appreciating that. She has that wisdom that we all know projectors are coming from. So we'll go to my story. I just wanted to give you a general background of my life story, but I don't want to go to details because it can be overnight. So let's go through the slides and the human design, the knowledge and how it can help you and give you a background. And I'll inject here and there some pieces of my life stories, how it helped me, so it will help you as well. And give you hope, to give you faith that really there is strategies out there. There is ways to make the connection in the family, the bond with our kids, in the more authentic and beautiful way. So going back to the slide now, we all know that we have a gift, to have a gift that God gave us when we were born. Or we chose to have that gift as well, depending on your beliefs. And when we really discover that and we start living that, doors open. It happened for me, and I've seen it happening for many people. Doors open, we have better health, that fibromyalgia that I mentioned in the beginning got out of my way totally. I stopped the medication when I started to take care of my energy, when I started to show up in life as myself. When I came to the new country, I wasn't feeling well. I was depressed because I had lots of emotions in my chart. And I was not using those emotions in a proper way. And that created the stress, depression, and fibromyalgia in me. When I discover who I am and using those emotions for my advantage and making use of them and showing up here with you today, even though I had that accent issue in my head all the time, now I've forgotten about that. and things are opening up, and I'm speaking on stages, and I'm doing courses and all the great things coming once we take the courage to live ourselves. And this is where I really, what I want to share with you today, and empower and inspire you to do the same. So on this slide, I'm talking about left and right side of the brain. It is very important to really to have the distinction how our brains work, because to me, I was confused. I was an analyst, I was a finance person, and I knew I loved music, dancing, lots of emotional charge usage. However, I wasn't clear who I am. I knew I loved writing, and I knew I loved numbers. And when I did my chart, like my human design, I know now that both of them, I have them both on my design. However, I have lots of creativity. I have lots of right side of the brain. And the reason I'm telling you that is because it's the same with our children. We all believe that, okay, we go to school, we're all used to a logical way of living, thinking, learning, and we ignore the other part of the brain, our emotional part of that. And sometimes our kids, and it's happening more and more, they have that part really developed and loving to use more.
And Diana,
Yes.
Is your projector daughter also right-brained?
Totally. Highly, highly artistic. Highly. So, yes, and when I'm going to talk about the throat center, I'll talk more about how she's using that. She's more right side brain. She has some logical, however, intuition and the creativity are very distinct on her chart. And me at the time, I was using my logical brain. And that's why I was feeling depression, because I wasn't accepting myself and living that part of me, and I was not understanding my child, my kid. Was very artistic. She writes poems, she loves the writing, she dances, and all that beautiful part of the right side. So once we're clear about that, I'd like you to take a good look on the chart, and I'm sure for people who are here, you might have heard that before. But I find it a very good foundation for us to recognize ourselves and what it is the part of ourselves that we would love to use most. And human design is one of those systems which really help you to understand why you behave in a certain way, why certain patterns and habits. And once we see that and we get that confirmation, we know why. And as human beings, we love to have answers. And when we have that answer, we get to be more in peace with ourselves. If you don't know now, you are going to learn that human design has 9 energy centers, which is in difference with the Hindu system, the chakra system, has 2 more. So I find it's a little bit more advanced when it comes to describing and looking at the energetic systems of our body. And the throat center, and we're going to focus today more on the throat center because this is where the recognition and the behaviors influenced by that recognition really show up in different ways. And it is one of the most important centers in our system because, as you can see, it's all about expression of the language, communication, and the manifestation. We all talk and we all know how much we want to manifest our desires, our dreams, our work into reality. And this is where the throat center, that energy is just a care to make it happen. So when we use it properly, we can communicate better, we are heard, we are recognized, and we take things into action. We really manifest our work into reality. The throat center we have 11 gates. How beautiful is number 11? That means that there are 11 forms of expression, 11 ways of different expression. And everyone has a different archetype of energy, different way how we really articulate, or even what we articulate. And if, depending on your design, if you have it defined or not defined, you might find it that functions a little bit different. First of all, if it is open or not colored or not defined, as we call it in human, based on human design, it means that you don't have access into that throat energy constantly. However, it's open. You take it from outside. I always say when an energy center is open, it reminds me of a room with no windows, with no doors. You imagine the wind, whatever is outside that room comes in, and it becomes a very powerful vortex. It really gets amplified, which means that we're very much influenced by the environment where we are in. So if you have a child with an open throat center, that means that that child, first of all, has a natural ability to express, and has the need to express, to talk. And it's really helpful to know and to see that in your human design chart, because that might be manifested or expressed in both ways. Could be when it's become really like we are aware of our expression, which might take different forms because it's open. We might really amplify whatever happens, and whatever speech, language, words is happening in our environment. And it's very easy for us to reflect that expression to other people, which makes us a good speaker, interviewer sometimes, like Oprah has that open throat, and she's very amazing at reflecting to people back what they want to express. She's a good channel of language. However, when sometimes there is a tendency with open throat to speak, there is a need to speak, and they are not heard most of the time when they really speak out of the turn, when they speak, when they are not asked. So now that you know that, and if you have a child with open throat, it is very important for you to encourage them to speak. So you ask them questions, you ask them for their opinion, and you empower them in a way that you tell them all your wisdom is within you, and you are going to be heard and appreciated for that wisdom when you are asked. So going back now to the throat center, and again, I wanted to speak about the define. When it's defined, like I have a defined throat center, we can express, we can communicate, and we have access into that energy constantly. And depending on the gates that we have activated in that throat center, depending on that archetype of energy, we can speak about that form of truth. And if we are looking at those gates, I would like to just go very quickly on what is the theme for each of the gates. So we have 11. We have the 20. 20 is all about the now. So the 20 talks about, okay, now we're going to do that. For people who have the 20 energy, like up there, I call it in the life purpose or the incarnation cross, they are really good at being like meditation teacher. So they are really good at knowing what to do and what to say and to take anyone's attention to the now. 31 is very logical. It's about expressing leadership, telling people, okay, this is the way to go. They're really good at expressing and directing and leading people. 8 is all about unique contribution, creativity. These people really know how to express and inspire people through language, through speaking, about making them or empowering them to use their own creativity and make a contribution in the world. They are really good at doing that. And now I understand why my daughter, because she has the whole channel, so 8-1 connected to the heart, to the identity center. And now I understand, and I not only allow her, but I empower and I encourage her to do that. She goes online, Insta or Facebook, and she really influences people how to use their creativity by her expressing her truth. And she does it in a very brave way because she puts some very powerful photos and to really inspire that freedom and give people permission to be themselves. 33 is all about, they call it like a retreat, because they are all about life stories in the past. They've made notes in their head, in their body, all about life experiences, and they love to talk about. They're great writers. They love to talk about. People go to them, sharing them stories. So you'll find yourself or your children who have that 33, that people are very attracted to them and sharing their life, their private stories. And the purpose of that is for these people, and they feel it, they have the tendency to either write, or some people even make documentary, that it helps them a lot to transmit and speak that energy and that wisdom to the world. Since people make documentary or they make beautiful retreats. 45 is the language of, as we call it, of the queen. If you have a child with a 45, please know that these people are going to be leaders and speaking about really their power. Their keyword is I have, we have, or we don't, or I don't. It's all about that, making sure that the tribe has the resources. But in order to do that, they have to lead and empower them. Good working the proper work and providing the resources. 12 is a beautiful energy. It's about really feeling that I have to wait. It's a bit conscious when it comes to expressing themselves out there. These people are a little bit introvert. I find people are a bit shy when they have the 12. It depends sometimes when they have it, as I call it in the power point, growth point, things where we're testing. I encourage people with that energy to express themselves in a more powerful way. However, when at their best, they really know when to speak. So if you have a child of 12, you might see a tendency for them to be a bit shy. And they have to learn really the power and when to speak. They'll be a master, really a master at knowing when is a perfect timing for them to express or manifest. 35 is all about experiences. It's all about, let's get to another experience. We've seen that, we've done that. They love to talk about changes. They love to do newer things. 55, I'm going to go a little bit faster because there's a lot more to talk. 55, those people are writers. My daughter has that. These people, it's a very abstract, not logical. They wander in life. They have this passion to just experience, to travel, to wander, to meet people, to really not have a strict plan. It's not logical. So allow them to wander. And this is how they learn about people, about life. And this is where they feel empowered to express and to share all these experiences in a very artistic way, in a metaphoric way. So now I get why she was writing poems when she was 10 years old, and I was asking her to learn math. And she was crying, and I was crying. 23 is very individual now. The key word here is I know. When I am with kids, students, I recognize right away when they have that 23 theme of energy because they speak very fast. And they do, I know. Like it's inside them, it's very fast. I know, they have lots of knowledge which is individual. And they are going there, it's a very projecting energy as well, so they're going to learn that that knowledge might not be known or familiar for other people, which means they have to wait for their turn. Because if they start expressing that, especially when they're young and they're not aware of that, they'll feel rejected. And this is where we start that conditioning, which affects our life at later cases. So that's the wisdom and the empowerment that we get from human design to just know that's great at knowledge, keep it for yourself and share it at the right time. And 62 is very logical. These people are all about practical, structured knowledge and sharing it with people in a very logical way. We have to do it this way, I think, because it's connected to the ajna, to the processing center in our head. And it's all about like whatever is being processed logically in that center. So they tend to say, I think we have to do it this way. And sometimes they're not heard because it's just their opinion. It's their opinion. It might not be true because it's coming from the head. 16. It is the language of, I find it the language of the talent. It's logical as well, but it talks about knowing when a project, the work, is going to be fulfilling or not. If it is worth or not following this work, this group, this tribe, and they are really good at identifying talents, identifying great resources when it comes to, could be people, it could be other resources. So they have the tendency to talk about that as well. So those are the archetypes of the throat. I'm hoping by now you have an idea about the throat and how it's best for us to use and communicate in a proper way.
And Emma says, thank you, lovely descriptive language.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. Make my day because, as I said in the beginning, I'm a bit conscious that I'm getting better and better at making sure that people understand my accent. But thank you so much. I appreciate that. The next energy center that I wanted to talk today when it comes to knowing our children, our kids, and empowering them, I find it's very important to know their G self-center, the identity center. I have an open identity center. So all my life, I've been looking to find myself. And that's why it explains why I was going through all these different education programs. Like we saw my acronyms, all those: finance, knowledge management, excellence professional, only in Canada, never mind what I've done back home. So I've been always not feeling who I am. And when we have that, we have a tendency to go from education system, different programs, different courses, personality assessment, you name it, how many I had done before I found human design. And human design fascinated me because it gave me the answer for my own identity. And that's why the empowerment. And on the other side, when it's hard, I was able to really mimic everyone. I am with children, I become like children. I am with seniors, I am like them. And these people, you can find even people who can do like mimic. They just, do I say the right, mimic other people's voices, identities. I've seen some comedians, they can do Trump or different, you know, people out there, famous people. And I'm sure they have that open heart identity center. It is very important to see your children, to know if they have it open or not, because if it is open, you know now they are going to be very wise about teaching self-love and loving people. However, they need to be in the right environment. All my life I was questioning myself why I was going to a restaurant and I wanted to be in a certain place, and I was becoming very annoying to other people. I was sitting at a table and, no, I don't like this place. Can we go there? Can we go home? So it is very important for people, children with open identity center, undefined, to be in the right place where they live, where they work, in the school. The environment is very important for their health, their even well-being and their success. And when it's defined or colored, it means they're going to be really good about knowing themselves. They have a fixed knowing. They know. They have high probability chance that they are going to know who they are. And it's all about behavior. And so you see, when it's open, we behave in a way that we like to please people. Open center, like open heart identity center, is about being a healer for other people. You feel their identities, you feel their pain. It is very important for a child with an open identity center to be aware of that, to be aware that what they are feeling is not necessarily theirs. It's not their identity. They have to go and spend time with themselves and all the beautiful things that we know, meditation and all mindfulness, to be back in their own space and their own identity. We might go back to questions if we have for the G Center. However, I'd like to continue in respect of the time to talk and cover about all points that we wanted to share with you today. The sacral center. You all have heard about how powerful that energy center is. And it's all about workforce, it's about life force, sexuality. And this is the slide or the center that I chose to talk about the types in human design as well. And I didn't do that in the beginning because I find that the sacral connects to the types of the human design, which are the manifestors, generators, projectors, and reflectors, and how they can get recognized. What is the best way and strategy to get their recognized for who they are? And manifestors, for you, parents, and I'm assuming people who are here could be mostly parents, who might have a manifestor child. Please know that they are going to be, first of all, the initiators. They can't help it. They are here to initiate. They are here to spark ideas, to start work, to make generators inspired to do things that they are initiating. They are the spark. That means that when they are children, they're going to be very active. They're going to initiate things. They need to feel to have the power, because they know they're different. They know they have that powerful drive inside them to initiate and start things. And the very best thing that we should do as parents is to not stop them. First, to be aware, to know that they are the type, and to encourage, to allow them to start an experiment with their ideas and not stop them. Because what happens, the manifestors, and I've seen plenty of them, I even have my friends, manifestors who are a little bit withdrawn. And I'm like, why they're operating like that? They are manifestors, for God's sake, because during their childhood, they have been really, their energy and their power has been suppressed by their parents for reasons that we know. They haven't been using and leveraging that spark, that energy, and they feel bitter, anger. They feel actually anger is most the energy they show. Generators, the workforce, the builders in this planet, they are another group who are very active. They have lots of life force. And for them, the key word, as you might know, is to respond to life. To respond to language, to signals, to symbols around them, to ideas. That works best for them. So if you have kids who are generators, first of all, let them run. I mean, run. Use the work, the life force energy. Because if they are not active during the day, they don't actually use that for different physical exercises and activities. First of all, their sleep is going to get affected. And they are not going to be happy, even when they start to be adult and study and work. They need to do work which is very fulfilling for them. If not, they'll get frustrated. Ask them questions, yes or no. Get their sacral going and juicy. They will appreciate that a lot. Even if you know their answer, please ask them questions. Do you like this? Do you like that? And see what they sacral response. And that would be a beautiful way for them to start activating that when they are still young. And they'll become a master at knowing and using that GPS. It is their GPS. That is where all the answers are. And us as a parent, we have a job, we have a duty to ensure that that works well for them. And that is activating. Projectors. Okay, I love them. You all know now that my daughter is a projector. It has been a lesson for me. They're really eye-opening because they are very different from generators, and I'm a manifesting generator. Projectors are here to be the guidance. Projectors are here to really, they hold the whole energy of the planet. By not working, they have a different way of operating. And what really hurts me is that we are not recognizing them properly. And I'm not talking only for my daughter, but for many projectors I have been helping and I have come across. We call them lazy because they don't have that workforce energy that we're talking about. Their sacral center is open, is undefined. They don't have access 24 hours. However, when they get access through being around generators, they become really like very active and they can work non-stop. They feel and they behave like they are even the hardest worker out there. And the next day, they are tired. They are super tired. They cannot sustain that energy like the way generators do. Our job as parents is to be aware of that, to allow them to rest, to allow them to be in a very empowering environment, so in a very positive environment because they have the tendency to get it from, to reflect and project in their body, whatever they feel from the environment, and to recognize them. The key word for projectors is to recognize them for their value they bring, for their wisdom. And I didn't do a good job while I was raising my daughter. I was like, no, it's not your turn. Okay, be good. She was being very, not only shy, withdrawn. She could feel that she had so much to offer, and we're not recognizing, appreciating that. We're taking advantage that she was a good kid, not complaining and all that stuff. And that created and accumulated all that suffering inside, because they know they are very wise. However, they cannot go to a 9-to-5 job. And now I work with students. And when I tell them that, or people who are young professionals who are already in the workforce and they are not feeling well, first of all, they are tired. And the second, they are not fulfilled because they cannot do repetitive jobs, repetitive tasks. And parents sometimes don't understand that. They push them and they feel, especially when they are highly empathic, kids feel they want to please and love their parents, and they keep continuing doing something which is not them and sustainable for them. And we all know where that takes them, to being burnout and being really bitter. Projectors become really bitter. And the reflectors, they're quite often. They're only 1% of population. I don't know if you know anyone. For some reason, I have come across quite a few projectors. They're very wise as well. They're quite open. So they're here like a mirror to reflect whatever happens in the family. So if you have a child who is a projector and it behaves in a certain way, which you think is not appropriate, then stop and look at yourself. Chances are that what you are doing and expressing and emitting in that environment, in your family environment, they are reflecting it back to you. So first allow space for them to do their reflections. They make decisions really once per month, once the moon. They are in flow with the flow of the moon. So they are not the fastest. However, they are here to teach, to reflect us what is the best for us. They know what's best for the family. They know what's best for the environment in school. It is very important. Please make sure that their tribe, their group of friends are very positive, are very supportive to them, because they are highly, highly sensitive. I would like to move on so you can have questions. Again, I'm sure you might have questions. If we're not going to have the time, please type your questions and I'm going to really take the time and answer to you after the call. So Karen talks a lot about this topic, and I found it very useful for this conversation today, the mistaken motivation behaviors. And it's actually coming up from the research of Kristen, you might want to help with the name, Radolf. I forgot his last name. However,
his name is Rudolf Dreikurs.
Perfect. We'll type his name on the comments for people to know and learn more about his work.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I'll do that.
Yeah. Thank you. And the most typical behaviors that we come across, or he came across, and now we are explaining through human design, is the attention. In order to understand what is happening and if the need for attention is showing up, focus on yourself. The best and the easiest way to know that is, how do you feel? Are you feeling irritated, annoying, like your kids are doing something which is really annoying you? Like noise, screaming, talking non-stop, or making mistakes. And that's when you stop and you think and know that there is another underlying need behind what is happening on the surface, behind their behavior. there is a high need for recognition and attention. And some people, or kids included, have that need more than other people. And it shows on their human design charts. So please, this is where I want you to encourage one more time, connect with human design specialists, get your charts, get your knowledge about yourself and your children to understand that need for them. Because if they need that, if they have that need, it's us as parents first to really help and support them. And then the society. We actually teach, empower them how to express that in an appropriate way. Because nobody reads if we start, I am irritated, they are irritated. We understand what's happening under the surface. Give them attention. I didn't do a good job while I was raising my child. Because I thought I'm going to raise a child who is very well-mannered and respects adults. So when she was asking, and she wasn't asking a lot, she was asking, while I am talking to someone else, and she was asking for certain things or wanting attention, I was maybe saying, oh, I'm busy right now. Like, it was not the most appropriate word. I didn't give her attention unconsciously. It was all well intended. It does not work. When kids are asking or they want a certain object or even word at the moment, it's the best, it's our responsibility to give them attention. And that doesn't mean to spoil them, but to express to them, at least give that little recognition. Yes, Mama is listening to you right now. And once I'm done with what I'm doing, I'm going to speak to you. Just give them that, I don't want to call it recognition, but to tell them that, yes, I'm here, I'm listening. And they will stop that. Another behavior, which we really see very, very often, is, we all know that, overpowering each other, parents and children. You feel that you need to force, you need, okay, I'm going to make it by putting my willpower on that. I am going to win. And they come back with their need to win. And it becomes a battle, the dynamics of power. The best way, and we all know that that doesn't work at all. Even for the moment, temporary, we feel that, yes, I had to say my word, I had to go my own way. They did not win. They learned their lesson. That is going to really impact them in their life journey and how they are going to learn to express that power. They are very powerful. If they have that power archetype of their human design, please know that they are here to express that power. The very first thing I see on the human design chart, I don't know why I do that, but I do that. The moment I see that power configuration, their blueprint, I'm like, okay, that is the very first thing I have to say to this person, and how to express that power. And there is a lot, lots of strategies for them to become powerful by inner strength and all other things. But as a parents, the moment we see that our child has an archetype of power, we need to learn and we need to ensure they express it appropriately. The family and then outside. So the best strategy in this way is to give them ways, give them opportunities, tasks where they can use their power. So they don't need to force things out. They need to, you all know and maybe have heard of the book Power versus Force. It's a beautiful teaching and knowledge to learn how to express our power. And giving orders doesn't work well. It's actually the power on the human design is very individual. They are going to do their own knowing. It's very, because on human design we have collective, like tribal, individual, and sensual energies, and this is all about individual. They feel it inside them. And we have to give them choices. So sometimes they don't express it properly and we know it's not the right way or the right thing to do for them. Give them choices, not orders. If they say in the evening, I want to read this book, I want to do that. You want to read the book or do that? Give them choices so they have the power to choose. And the third one, the behavior, and it's best for you to read the word than me saying in adequacy, because I don't say the most. I find that word is actually difficult for many. It is a need or behavior that we all express sometimes incorrectly. And how you recognize that is by you feeling sometimes conflicted. We're confused. What do I do? Do I help them? Do I allow them? Kids come from school sometimes and they are overwhelmed. They feel they can't do homework. It's too much for them. And really feel very frustrated. The best strategy or the best way, first of all, give them space, allow them after school to go to their space, discharging all the energy, all that, information, knowledge. That's all the energy they've gotten into school. And it might be very, too much for them when they are under that pressure. Help them to break down the projects, homeworks into simple pieces. So they are able to fulfill one piece at a time. And that will develop in them that trust, that they know they can do things, because actually the reality is they are very adult. And there is a specific energy on the chart which shows that energy. So I know the time is going to the end, right, Kristen? We
have about 4 minutes.
4 minutes left.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of summarize or give an ending to my life story, because when it comes to human design questions, please type your questions on the chat of this call and I'll respond. But I wanted to give you a bit of because that's a big hope of my life story and how it is ended. So in my case, my daughter went to university. She was feeling inadequate. She was feeling cannot really do school. These kids, the students are doing well and I'm not. And I knew she's very wise. First of all, she got bored because the information out there wasn't deep enough for her. Nutrition has been part of my life. We had books here about nutrition. She wasn't finding anything new. She was experiencing stress and she was feeling not good enough. And the second, she was feeling stress because she's highly empath and highly intuitive, she was feeling the stress of the students and asking questions. These people are going to become dietitians and help other people lose weight? They are stressed. These kids are very deep, they are very wise. So they cannot comply with the current system. Please make sure to really understand that part and allow them to be different. Allow them to feel their own spark and they will really shine. It's not that I am any different, but for some reason God gave me out of desperation the motivation to take a different step. And at the time I was not even awake. I was still that logical person, but I enrolled there in a different schooling system, a different network where people were really very empowered and people who knew this wisdom we're talking today. And it's not about human design, but people who know how the success had a different meaning and not what we learn in school, they were empowering her, not me as a parent. I did that later. They were the ones to tell her, you know who you are really powerful at 1, 2, 3. So she forgot about nutrition and she became this powerful healer. And this is where I came into play because I started to be on the same journey. And I always say that God had a mission, a purpose for us as a parent and for me to be in a different journey from what I had thought logically, because I have a really high responsibility to support this projected child. And I'll do anything, even though my husband doesn't understand this, anything, that's my job, to really empower not only her, but all children, young professionals, to follow themselves, to know their energy. And I can tell you how important and how empowering that is. Time is 3. I want to conclude with that. However, if there is any, Christine, any question which I can maybe answer now, briefly, what do you think? How do you recommend we continue?
Why don't we do this? Why don't we end here for the live webinar, and then, like Diana said, post your questions in the Facebook chat under the video, because she is going to be going in there, seeing your questions and answering them. And we have some questions, Diana, that I briefly answered while you were sharing. But if you could go in there and give us your opinion, I'd really appreciate that.
I will.
Okay. Thank you so much for hosting, Diana. It's been a pleasure, and have a great weekend.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you so much for all the support. Thank you.
Okay, and we will email y'all the replay tomorrow morning.
Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely day.